Deconstructing your faith.
You have this blind faith and you don't stand on anything, or you get taught something that's completely incorrect, but you've never asked a question to find the real answer.
It's hard for Christians to accept when you're sitting in a waiting room at a children's hospital wondering if your child's going to come through their heart surgery. Why has God created a system where this kind of thing exists?
If you don't ask questions, regardless of what side you're on, I think almost in a sense you could be led astray either way. So how do you get to the conclusion of this is right, this is wrong?
He said, basically, if I didn't want to believe in a God who commissioned genocide, created a world where there's death, will send people to hell, essentially his answer was, why would I? And that's really at the core that's not being addressed. Is he doesn't want to believe in God because believing in God was hard and contradicted his own wishes, wills, desires, or his own value system. What you're really saying is, if I was God, I would behave differently. Our producer editor, we call her the Predator, Cassie, has made us watch so many of these dumb videos about this epidemic or pandemic or trend or whatever it is about these people who are deconstructing their faith, and wanted me to and you to engage with this idea. So everybody welcome. This one's got my blood boiling a little bit. So let's talk about this this hot garbage your wife has made us shove our face into.
Okay.
This week. Deconstructing your faith. When I say those two words, what does that mean to you? What comes to mind when you think of that?
So
hold on a second.
Crack open the fridge sig.
The old fridge.
So to
Okay,
me, deconstructing your faith would be just a matter of, I don't know. To me, it would be trying to find answers and really breaking apart why you believe what you believe. But I mean, according to what we watched this week, it was more or less trying to disprove what you believe in. I think in the world of Christianity right now, a lot of people that are deconstructing their faith are taking deep dives into evolution and trying to prove, the theory of evolution to be real and things like that, which I don't really buy into. But I think that comes from a place of what evolution are you talking about? Because there's different types of evolution.
Yeah, macro, micro, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, there's more than that, though. I mean, there's chemical evolution and stuff like that as well.
What's chemical evolution?
Chemical evolution would be like the thought that
It's
basically like the Big Bang. It'd
is
just
that
be
like
like
turning sugar water into whiskey? Is that chemical evolution?
No, not quite. So it'd be like the thought, kind of like from the Big Bang. How we started with this amount of matter this big, and now all of a sudden we've got planets. But the chemical evolution would be the thought that our basis of the world is hydrogen. So how did we go from hydrogen to iron to potassium to phosphorus? You know what I mean?
Heat.
An explosion. Yeah. But that's, I mean, it's impossible. Like, you can't go from hydrogen to this. And so no, I don't believe in things like that, but I do believe in micro evolution.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Deconstructing your faith. Cassie asked me, do you ever watch videos on deconstructing your faith? And I'm like, no. No.
Why would I need to do that? Why would I need to deconstruct my faith?
Are there largemouth bass in these videos? Is somebody in a football helmet getting the boom lowered on them? No, I don't. I haven't watched deconstructing your faith videos. And so she made me take this deep dive, and there's a couple people like Rhett and Link, and there's just some people that I watched that went through this process of deconstructing their faith and just trying to figure out what that is. And I I understand the pursuit of questions and why do I believe what I believe as a Christian and stuff like that. And I think that's a healthy exercise for us all to go through on some level.
As far as why do I believe what I believe?
Yeah. And so the idea of deconstructing your faith, I don't know why I put that in quotes. It made me feel more official, I guess.
Those are 30%.
I think everybody means something a little bit different.
Yeah, kind of like when you say apologetics. Like that can go.
And so some people aren't deconstructing their faith; they're just destroying it, or they're disintegrating it. They're pursuing what they want to pursue, and so I would hope that if people intentionally go down this process, this trend that's happening. I think it's a healthy thing to ask, well, why do I believe what I believe? But most people already have in their mind what they believe or what they want to believe or don't want to believe. And it ends up just being an exercise in confirmation bias. And that's where I think it kind of gets unhealthy. And I see that in some of these videos that your wife made me watch.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so bad. Your wife made me watch these videos. It was traumatizing. But just the kind of arrogance that some of these guys have, and they try to really come off as intellectually, arriving at these. They want to be an intellect. They want to be. They want to sound like they've genuinely really put in the work and did the study because I read this book about evolution. Great. And so this book and this author said, this is why evolution is what it is and why we shouldn't believe in God. And man, he made a lot of sense. But what really brought it all home for me was, this guy Rhett, I think Link was the little glasses wearing dude that was next to him. And
I don't know. The video that I saw, there was like a dude that like had some super long hair. Which guy was that?
Yeah, the guy with long hair with the man bun. Right, that should be your first. No, that's fine.
A guy that looks like Jesus telling me there's no Jesus. Wait a minute.
The thing is I think they're both really genuinely good dudes, and they went after this. Like I think there's some really goodness about these guys in their pursuit of information and knowledge. But he said something that kind of brought it all home for me, and me asking, how's he arrived at these conclusions? Because his arguments weren't really great. Mm-hmm. He brought up some legitimate concerns about the Bible, about Christianity, about the absurdity of God. Mm-hmm. Which Christians, we don't think about. The idea that God's always existed, we're just like, yeah. That makes no sense, right? But we accept that as Christians, and we believe that as Christians. But the amount of cognitive dissonance that you have to not to ask that question, like, how does God always exist? How is that possible? Yeah, our minds can't process that. But he said this thing. He said, basically, if I didn't want to believe in a God who, commissioned genocide, created a world where there's death, will send people to hell, essentially his answer was, why would I? And that's really at the core that's not being addressed, is he doesn't want to believe in God because believing in God was hard and contradicted his own wishes, wills, desires, or his own value system. And his idea of God was being challenged because
you know what I just heard when you said that? I don't want to eat healthy and lose 20 pounds. So why would I? That's what I just heard you say, basically. Yeah.
But Christians have a hard time accepting as well. Yeah. And this is why a lot of them fall away from the faith. God told them to kill everything. Right? Mm-hmm. We talked about that previously. Mm-hmm. It's hard for Christians to accept that. It's hard for Christians to accept when you're sitting in a waiting room in a children's hospital wondering if your child's going to come through their heart surgery. Why is God created a system where this kind of thing exists. And what you're really saying is, if I was God, I would behave differently. And there's the arrogance in it.
Mm-hmm.
If I was God, I wouldn't commission genocide. If I was God, I wouldn't create a world where there was suffering. If I was God, there wouldn't be a hell for people to go to. And that's really what they're saying. And so they don't want to believe in a God unless it fits into their ideology and what they're comfortable with in a God. And as Christians will fall away or deconstruct their faith. And basically what that means is I'm going to go find all the reasons and information that I can gather that will unlock the door and allow me to leave this faith and feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. Good luck. What do you think?
I mean, I agree with you. I think it's important for us all to do that, though, like, in all honesty.
To quit the faith? Yeah.
No. I think it's important.
Forget this thing. Evolution's real.
No, I think it's important for all of us to question things, though. I think a lot of times you have this blind faith and you don't stand on anything, or you get taught something that's completely incorrect, but you've never asked a question to find the real answer. Yeah. There's movements within Christianity that are, you've got the flat earth people, and you've got the old earth people and the young earth people, and you've got people that, believe in all these different
Christians
things.
Can't get together on what actually happened.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you don't ask questions, regardless of what side you're on, I think almost in a sense you could be led astray either way.
Yeah. Sure, man. And you are what you eat, man. I mean, whatever you're going to consume, you're going to become.
Mm-hmm.
And so we like to think that, if we were Muslims and we grew up in Kabul, Afghanistan, that we would still be a Christian.
Probably not.
No, you'd be a Muslim. And it's the same thing. It's what you expose yourself to, what you learn, your worldview, your system. We're so easily influenced, man. And so the fear is when Christians ask questions and they don't have good answers to them, that's going to pull them away. So asking too many questions is often frowned upon in certain Christian circles. And you're not allowed to question things. You just sit down, be quiet, and accept. And that's safer. And sometimes people raise their kids like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so kids grow up with this very elementary faith, an elementary idea, when most Christians can't tell you whether or not there were dinosaurs on the ark. and
this is a split decision.
And what to do with that,
Yeah.
Were Leviathan and Behemoth, were they dinosaurs, or were they
not real?
Or were they mythological representations of a farming, land-dwelling community and a seafaring community? By the way, the Bible says they still exist. Leviathan and Behemoth are still alive today. Revelation, 13, where they're referenced, and the beast of the sea is going to come out, referencing Leviathan, and then the beast of the earth is going to come out. And so people don't know what to do with that stuff. And so because they weren't allowed to ask, they weren't allowed to pursue, all of a sudden, man, Christianity seems like the footing that they grew up on, that they were told, hey, stand on this platform. All of a sudden, the platform they were told to stand on was a little shaky.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little off level. And so we got to do a better job at building a better foundation with people and be able to have open dialogue.
Yeah.
To wrestle with the problems of the canon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the New Testament. How did we get it? How did I arrive at the English Standard Version? And why are there verses missing?
Yeah.
Who decided to take these verses out? And were they Holy Spirit inspired? So all the years and centuries that these verses were in the Bible wasn't perfect, but now it's perfect because we've removed them. But the Bible has to be perfect, especially in the way that we think it has to be perfect and what perfection is to us. And so people have a hard time wrestling with those things. And if we need to talk about the canon and how we got it and why we can trust the Bible and what the Bible is, what the Bible isn't, then we can have that podcast. But it's when people struggle with these things, we're just kind of like, shh, or we come up with these absurd answers like, the Bible is literal from cover to cover, and every word of it is true.
Yeah.
Well, which version? Are we talking about the King James Version? Or are we talking about the English Standard, the New American Standard? Are we talking about the Elizabethan Bible? Are we talking about the Bible that included the Apocrypha for several centuries before the Protestants took it out? What Bible are you talking about? The Ethiopian Bible? What Bible are you talking about that is perfect? It's definitely not the Word on the Street or the Living Word version. Which one is true? Which one is perfect by your definition? And so Christians will either choose not to struggle with that and have some cognitive dissonance, or they'll use it as a gateway to jump ship. And to be like, well, if we don't have Paul's autographed letter to the Corinthians and we just have copies of that letter from years later and copies of copies and copies, then, well, I can't believe anything that's in there.
Yeah. For me, that looks like basically if you can give me the birth certificate of Jesus, then I will finally I'll finally believe and I'll finally be a Christian if you can show me his birth certificate, knowing well that there wasn't a hospital back then. There was no birth records back then. Like
well, Christians do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll stop believing in Jesus' resurrection if you can present his bones.
Yeah.
So
that's not how that works.
So you're basing your faith and your decision off an impossible task.
Yeah.
And whatever side of that coin that you're playing, right? And and then we try to do it logically. Can God do anything, Keenan?
Yeah.
Can he create a rock so big that even he can't lift it?
Oh. I mean, yeah.
So there's a rock out there that could be created that he can't lift, but he can do anything.
If he's,
so no matter how big the rock is, he can lift it. Right.
I guess,
so you get in you paint these illogical, and logical corners.
Yeah.
And so some people will try to get out of Christianity or prove Christianity through logic.
Mm-hmm.
And so it depends on how you want to pursue it. And the rock thing, that's been a thing in philosophy for a while. I like to say, can God create a pizza so big that even he can't eat it? I like that better. The real question is can God create a pizza so big that I can't eat it? All right, that's a task. There's whatever you want to pursue, whatever you're looking for, you're going to find.
Oh, for sure.
And it's the same thing we do in our human relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I want Keenan to be a sensitive and soft and loving guy. And he's just not in reality. But I'm going to look for things like that, and you cling to those things. Like, man, he sent me an Instagram reel like at 10 o'clock the other night. Didn't say anything with it, but I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Thumbs up, guy. Thanks. And nothing. And so you do it in your relationships. It's like when you fall in love with somebody and, you just don't know him like I do, Dad. They're looking that, we say we're ignoring the red flags.
Yeah.
And so we kind of do that when we want something, we ignore anything that contradicts that. And so when people really want to deconstruct their faith, And that becomes excuse me, oh, it tasted like ribeye and bratwurst, which is what I had for dinner, and it was delicious, dude.
It was so good.
So I cooked this massive ribeye. We'll take a pause break from all this stupid disintegrating your faith talk and talk about the important things like protein. And so I cooked this massive ribeye, and so get it seared real nice in a hot pan, seasoned up, salt, pepper, garlic, and throw some Kerrygold butter in there and start basting it. Got the brats cooking in the air fryer, like the real brats, not like the fake Johnson Brill brats, like the real brats.
Mm-hmm.
And Kim's like, what are you cooking for dinner? And I'm like, why, are you hungry? And she's like, no. She goes, I can do something else. And she says, I'm not really wanting that. This is what happens. This is how your environment manipulates you, which plays into what we're talking about, right?
She smelt it and
so I get this steak off and I throw it on this big wood cutting board right on the counter, and it's resting. I'm pulling the brats off, right? And I throw them over there. Then I go get my big brisket knife, and I'm slicing up the steak in nice thin slices, and it's wall-to-wall pink. And she wants her steak medium well or well done. Oh. This thing's solid medium rare. So she's standing there at the counter, down the hatch. I'm eating. I'm like, oh, man, perfection. And I reach over and grab some brat down the hatch. And she's like, maybe I'll try a bite. And I'm like, you sure? Like, this is not cooked the way you normally have your steak. And she started eating a bite of it. And she goes, why is this so good tonight? And I'm like, because I didn't burn it for you.
Yeah.
and so I gave her a third of my steak and half a brat, which was enough for her because she eats like a bird.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I was the same way, though. Like, I didn't even start liking steak until I was 24.
Yeah.
Because my entire life, the way my mom would eat her steak was well done with ketchup. And so it was terrible. Every time like they would cook steak, I'd be like, why are we eating steak? Like, this isn't even good. Like, hamburger patties. Yeah, like hamburger patties are better than this. Like, this is disgusting. You sit there and chew it for 5 minutes, and then finally, I don't know, it was 23, 24. Yeah. I ate like a medium steak, and I was like,
yeah,
dude, what is this? This is what I've been missing out on.
For our entire adult life, we've been married 26 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first medium rare steak
that she's ever
eaten.
Yeah. And now she'll never go back.
Because you're fat, right? When your wife says things to you like, when you eat, you make that food look so good. Right? What does that mean? Right? Because I'm just enjoying it. I'm just like, oh yeah. Is that what I don't know what it is. Yeah. She said, I just eat like the food's delicious.
oh my God. I saw a meme. This is totally unrelated. I saw a meme the other day, and it was like, it said, when you're in the moment, do you usually cuss or moan? And the guy commented underneath it, and it goes, it depends on how good the food is. I was like, that's facts.
Yeah, I was like, wait, we're going to have to cut this. Yeah. And then you brought it back. Okay.
Yeah. Still might have to. It. But yeah, that can go on.
Cassie does not approve.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see, we're talking about people pursuing what they want, right? I don't want to believe in God anymore. I don't want to be a Christian anymore. And I'm really not feeling that anymore, and so they make this shift and they go pursue things that lead them down a different path.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kim was hungry for steak, and so she got steak. She makes this decision, to change her ethic and her value system and what's acceptable, right? Because she was hungry, and we do that in so many arenas of our lives is we'll make these shifts. You see it when, I've seen some of the most hardcore conservative Church of Christ women. Everyone else is going to hell. Preachers should not be able to wear a shirt that's not tucked in. Anybody who listens to instrumental Christian music is going straight to hell. You get some of these super conservative people, and then, I've seen these women where they're just bitter and angry and frustrated with their faith, and frustrated with the church because they don't agree, and then their husband dies, and they're still that person, but all of a sudden they meet this beautiful Catholic old silver fox.
And then all of a sudden they're Catholic.
And you know what she did? She became Catholic.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, just totally just.
Wait a minute here.
Just rejected all of the things that she said she stood on, and would just devour other Christians and lord these opinions and these sometimes false doctrines that she believed so much that she would die on that hill. She would destroy her own family. But she met old boy. Signed me up to be a Catholic, baby. And people they're going to pursue what they want to pursue. And that's why we got to be careful about our heart, man. Is generally you're going to move into the places you want to move. And Paul talks about that. Well, what a wretch that I am. He talks about, he doesn't want to do this thing, but he ends up doing it anyway. And that frustrates him. And that's the thing, man. And it's the same with this deconstructing your faith. I think there's a healthy way to go about asking legitimate questions and seeking answers. But if you just don't want to be a Christian anymore, just stop. Don't act like you're
just don't be philosophical.
Like
just be done.
Arrogant intellectual philosopher that has figured out this thing because I read a couple books, watched a couple videos, and now I believe something totally different. Whatever. You'll be back in church when your kids get old enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get asked that all the time. I feel like people will just ask me questions about ministry or whatever, or leadership, or just anything. They'll ask questions and they'll be like, "Well, who do you read? What do you read? Who do you read?" And I'm like, I mean, mostly a lot of Paul, some Peter, James, maybe. I was like, "Why? What do you mean?" And they're like, "Oh, I just really like C.S. Lewis or John Maxwell or stuff like that." And I'm like, pass.
No, every Christian has to read the Screw Tape Letters, or you're not going to heaven. 100%.
Yeah. I have a thought though. I wonder if it's different.
Hush, woman. This is the Church of Christ.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, I wonder if it's different watching. He cracked himself.
Can you please ask Keenan at home? All right. The men are talking.
And only if he has time.
Yeah, and only if I have time to teach you.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, what were you saying?
I just wonder.
Weaker gender.
Anyway. Y'all are the worst.
Straight to hell.
Literally. Maybe. So anyway, what I was going to say is I wonder if it's different watching them or watching obviously life in general is different as a man and a woman, but I didn't get arrogant at all when I watched it. I just got like, maybe I think the same way or maybe I ask the same questions, but I feel like he's searching for something because otherwise it's like you just have as much legitimacy as the Mormons or,
Sure.
Like you want to know because Christians.
When you're talking about you're talking about Rhett and Link.
Yeah, yes, because Christians are so comfortable saying the Mormons are crazy or Scientology's crazy and all these things make no sense. But then you ask them anything about their faith and they're like, oh, gotta have faith, you just gotta believe or whatever. And I think there's certain people that are built different and they just aren't okay with that answer. Like, I don't want to just say I'm a Christian because I don't know, I've always been a Christian, and like these things kind of make sense, because otherwise it's like there's a whole slew of things that don't make sense. So now I'm like, how am I better or more solid
Yeah,
than the Mormons?
Those two specifically, I don't think are arrogant human beings. I
Yeah.
think they're very good dudes. My addressing Rhett, as I think the one that said it, was I don't want to believe these things, so why would I? Right? And so he really doesn't have good evidence for or against those things that he mentioned. And so he went out and searching for alternative ideas. And some, and that didn't mean he didn't stop pursuing things that weren't alternative. What happened?
Does someone have a phone on set? By someone, I mean my husband, because I know his text tone.
You mean the vibration?
Yeah.
That did not make a sound.
On my headphones, it did.
Oh, are you serious?
Dun, 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 dun.
That's not what it did. It just vibrated.
Yeah, that's your vibration tone.
Oh, okay.
I'm so deaf. Anyway, what were we talking about? Before we were so rudely interrupted by your stupid vibrating phone.
You're like, they're not arrogant, they're good dudes, but he said that one thing.
Yeah, and so that position is arrogant. I don't think they're arrogant. That puts you in this in that place that I was talking about earlier about I'm not okay with God doing these things or not doing these things. I would do it differently. God's behavior in the way that I understand God does not match my value system, ethic, my wish, wills, or desires. And so I'm not going to believe in him.
I think that's valid, but I'm just kind of maybe trying to play devil's advocate.
Well, that's what women do.
But should I just leave?
You're mic'd up now. I'm gaslighting you through this whole thing.
I'm gonna cut so many reels, and you're making it really easy.
The weaker gender.
Cassie's like, I'm just gonna get him fired from his job. Just take everything out of context.
I have so much power. Okay, devil's advocate. I don't know why I'm stuck on Mormons right now, but I think a Mormon could say that about.
Are you wanting to be a sister wife?
No,
Do you like that idea?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. But I think they could say that too about all of their rules that don't make sense. Like, they can't have coffee, whatever. Like, you could go to them and be like, what about all these things? Like, they're like, well, it's just not our ways. Like, I think they could spin that to like kind of be humble. Like, well, I'm not going to understand everything, and maybe it's not how I would have done it, but it is what I believe. Does that make sense?
No.
Like, I need to re-explain it?
What does that have to do with God is in a certain way, so I'm not going to believe in him?
Because you said it's arrogant to say, I wouldn't have done it this way if I was God.
Correct.
So I'm saying...
What's that have to do with whether or not I can have 7 wives?
Did you understand what I said?
Yeah.
I think for example, if you're having the same conversation with a Mormon and you're coming to them, let's say the Christian version, like, why does God allow bad things to happen? Why does God say the things he says about women? Whatever. If you were to ask a Mormon, why can't you have coffee? Why can you have multiple wives, even though they don't do that anymore? They could spin it the same way.
What do you mean? How would they say that?
How would they say what?
Okay, what you're saying that how they could spin it, use the same argument that I'm using. Okay, you're a Mormon.
Okay.
I am a God-fearing Protestant, and I think Mormonism is crazy.
Why?
All right. Well, I'm not here to answer that question. We're here to talk about why you think it's okay to have 7 wives.
Well, I think that...
So spin my argument to defend that.
It's not about what I want. It's about what God says is true.
That's correct. Perfect. So let's study what God says about that.
Great.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with me going, I don't want to believe a thing, so I'm not going to.
Yeah,
I don't want to believe that it's okay to have 7 wives, so I'm not going to believe it. Instead, the appropriate response is, am I allowed to have 7 wives? What does the Bible say? What does God really think about this? And go pursue that answer and arrive at that conclusion with a little bit more work than I don't want to believe something, so therefore I'm not going to, or I want to believe something and I'm going to. You have to add more to that. And so, and I think Rhett and Link do that in a sense, but there's this driver that kind of permeates their explanation of what's happening. Oh, that was nasty.
I think what it comes down to is the context, and you've got to be extremely honest with the context, because I mean, I think maybe this can be like a similar argument for what you're talking about. So if we were to take a Christian and we were going to look at King David, and King David, of course, killed Bathsheba's husband and had sex with her. And so if you're on that end of the argument,
Not in that order, but
yeah, not in that order, it was the other order, but if you were on the other end of that argument, what you're looking at is, so God thinks it's okay to kill husbands and rape wives. Like, that's what that sounds like to me. And then
David got away
on
with
the but on the other end of that argument is, you know, the Mormons, not now, but did think it was okay to have 7 wives. And so, you know, same, different. But if you're reading the Bible not in context, then you would read that as, yeah, it's okay. You know, if you like it, go take it. You know, kill the husband and take it. But you've got to read it in the context that it was written in, and you've got to be aware of who the audience is, though, as well.
all those things I think are important, but it's the confirmation bias that is driven by I want or don't want. And he said it. Go back and watch the video. If I don't want to believe this, why would I?
Mm-hmm.
And there's the issue with everything that he's went through that I have. And I think he's a good dude, and he really pursued information, but it's that confirmation bias and that own desire that's driving him. I think that may have been a blind spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
That if I wanted to put together compelling arguments why you shouldn't believe in God, I think I could do that, and it'd probably scare both of you. Or I can put together a compelling argument of why God exists.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to be careful about that, your own bias, your own blind spots, your own desire. And whether we're reading scripture, whether I'm putting together a sermon for Sunday morning, I can make the Bible say what I want it to say.
Yeah,
I can take things out of context. I can interpret things a little bit different. I can tell stories. I can change the meaning of a passage just with the inflection of my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to be very careful about your biases and how that shapes what you believe or don't believe. And so when I see these guys deconstructing their faith, I did the air quote thing again. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I don't ever do that. Stupid.
Can that be what's the picture for what's it called? The cover? Yeah, the thumbnail picture. Can that be it right there?
Disintegrating your faith.
Yeah, can that be the thumbnail?
I mean, what was the word? Deconstructing. I keep forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's that you see that blind spot of that appears being able as a third party and someone who's kind of went through this process of searching and pursuing and asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even that cost me relationships, that frustrated professors, that people just don't like you to ask too many questions.
Yeah, but it's like that on all ends of the spectrum, though, as well.
Are you okay?
Because like what you said with the Mormons, it's still the same thing. Because why can't you drink coffee? Why can't you drink?
The Mormons not able to drink coffee?
No, they can't drink anything hot. That's why they can drink soda, but not coffee.
They inhale soda. They have soda shops, but they can't have coffee.
Yeah.
But they'll tell you, like, we don't know why.
Like,
But-
we don't know why.
But
It was
his
just,
ways.
I can
you
have
know,
multiple wives, but no coffee.
Yep.
That's so
How do you-
outdated.
I wonder how you arrive at that ethic.
Because Joseph Smith said so.
But I'm just, my argument is they would say that Christians have similar arguments of not understanding certain things, but it being just the way that it is.
Can you name one?
Why is being gay a sin?
Why is being gay a sin? You want me to
That was
answer
not
that
an
on the-
actual question. I'm
Okay.
just saying that would be
Yeah.
that would be something that as a Christian you could have a hard time grasping, especially if you have like a kid or someone that's,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, the big one for me is circumcision. Like, why is that a thing? Yeah. Like, why was that for generations? A sign of being one of God's children is little snippy snip.
Yeah, like of all the things you could have done
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Why couldn't it be, baptism back then? Like that would have been way easier. Okay, I don't know, but would you be a Christian if that was the cost of entry as an adult man?
As an adult, I don't know. Maybe not.
Like, let me tell you about Jesus. By the way,
I got this really big knife. Yeah.
come into my office. I'm going to snip the end off of this thing, and that's how you enter into the fold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get it because they needed because there's so much symbolism in the Old Testament of like physical cleanliness and things like that. And so I get it. Like, you can lose that and it not matter. And so like there's the physical, like, hey, this is like a physical
to me.
representation of these are my people. But at the same time, are we all walking around with no pants on? Like how do we know? I would think it'd be like maybe we should, like, I don't know, cut a piece of your ear off or something, like something that, like, if I'm walking down the street, I can see you. Like, I'm not gonna walk up to you and drop your drawers and be like, oh, yep, this guy, he's
You're
a
a
Jew.
Jew?
You're a
Prove
Jew.
it.
Yeah, you're a Jew. Prove it. Exactly.
Let me see.
That is a little off, It's a little off.
That's a weird one.
Yeah.
I don't understand, like, why is that a thing? And like, did God create the extra just so it could be cut off?
Was that the whole point? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so those things are weird.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is a lot of Christians don't think about that stuff, and rightfully so. But I always have questions. I don't think we should be afraid of questions, but you have to be careful when you start asking questions and looking for answers,
Yeah.
that you're not feeding your bias and building an echo chamber that's just leading you where you already want to go. And that's what I'm saying about these videos, isn't that they're not asking questions and they're not being honest about asking questions, is that they need to make sure that they're checking their bias.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you say things like, if I don't want to believe this thing, why would I? That's a dangerous place to be.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't want to believe that if I jump off this bridge, I'll fall to my death, but instead I'll fly. Why would I believe that I'll fall to my death if I don't want to believe that? Well, because evidence tells you that you're going to fall to your death.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to be careful to check your bias, or it can lead you off this cliff. And you don't end up arriving at the truth of what you originally intended to find and to seek and to grow in, is that you arrive at this conclusion, which is, and your bias and your want led you there anyway. And so you just got to be careful with that stuff, man.
So then how do you get to the point? Because there's obviously ample amounts of information on both sides of that, though. So how do you get to the conclusion of this is right, this is wrong?
I think you're going to be disappointed in how many conclusions you can actually get to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Everybody wants the answer to the question.
Yeah.
But the honest man, it says, I don't know, but I believe. There's miles between knowing something and believing something, and we don't want to separate those two things. And Christians, they confuse belief with knowledge, and it just, I don't know. I don't know why God chose circumcision. There's a lot of guesses out there. Um, and so you have to, when you pursue, when you ask these questions, when you're building your belief and you're using knowledge to do that, whatever your belief or value system or worldview is, that you have to pursue that knowledge with an understanding of your bias. Okay. And you have to ask yourself and have this running narrative in your head and check yourself and say, hey, it's like when I'm preparing a sermon, is this me talking? Is this what I want out of this scripture? Or is this what is God trying to communicate here? And try to be aware of your bias to try to minimize it as much as possible. But most theologians, most people will say it's almost impossible for you to get rid of completely of your own biases, because you are who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're a white 30-year-old man in North Texas. And to think that that doesn't shape your opinions, your worldview, or even how you look at Scripture is nonsense. It just has. And so you have to be aware of that. And just try to minimize it as much as possible and try to be intellectually as honest as possible. And say, if you're looking for answers because you don't like being a Christian,
then you're going to find them.
Then you need to try to at least acknowledge that I really don't like being a Christian. So I'm going to go see if there's an alternate path. Or I really want to be a Christian. So I'm going to go get all this information. You can do that from both sides of the coins, whether you're trying to stop being a Christian or whether you're trying to start being one. People will ignore a lot of information and not ask too many questions and just kind of pursue what they want so they can arrive at the place where they really in their heart want to be. And that's all I'm saying is these people that are deconstructing their faith, I see a lot of common themes of, I didn't want to be a Christian anymore. I don't really say that directly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went pursuing these things that could relieve me of that. Just say it. But I don't have a problem with people deconstructing their faith. Just be honest about it. Why are you going down this process? Is it because you're struggling with doubt? Okay. Is it because you really don't like to come to church on Sunday morning and you're tired of people telling you how to live your life? Okay. Say that. Watched a young woman on YouTube, and she was just like, Christianity was so oppressive, and things just didn't really make sense, and I was tired of people making me feel guilty all the time, and people judging me, and that's what everybody says. I go to church and people judge me. No, okay. Well, you go to church and people tell you to, stop doing drugs, stop getting drunk every night. Oh, I feel judged. Okay. Whatever. And then you go on this deconstructing tour. Well, I'm going to find reasons because I don't want to be a Christian. I don't want accountability. I don't want to go to church. I don't want to be a part of that community. I don't want to believe those things. Just try to be honest about it. And if that's what it is, then say it. But don't try to take other people down with you like you arrived at this intellectual position without biases, that you really came at this thing and you've got all your biases in check. And I don't know, man, it's just, I think most people that I watched that do this is I just got the feeling they really didn't want to be Christian. And so you're going to find reasons not to do things that you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it too is like, I don't know, maybe it's just because we're Christians, but we have this understanding of surrender. Like, I know I can't do it the best. I know God is going to do it better than I can. So we have this kind of like cycle idea, like you're in this relationship with the Lord. But if you aren't of that understanding and you are more in like, I got to control everything, then you're going to be like, I have to understand this because it's going to affect my entire life. I have to understand this. It's going to affect my marriage. I have to understand this. It's going to affect my children and how I raise my children and what kind of family structure I have. And that's where you spiral of like, I got to get it right because if I don't, it's all on me. And then you're just putting that all on yourself, and you're guilty because you don't understand everything. And I think that's where the initial spiral comes from, where you start asking all of those questions, because it either does make sense or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, then what is your life? Especially if you grew up that way and that's the only worldview you've ever had. Now it's like, now what?
Yeah. Well, you don't worship God, you worship a Bible, you worship information, and you're not going to get it all right. That's one thing the Bible's clear about.
Yeah.
Is the people who wrote the Bible didn't have it all figured out, did they?
Yeah. I feel like that's one of the big things, or one of the big questions that people ask is, how can I trust the Bible? It was written by man. Exactly. It was written by man. It was written by people just like you that don't have it all figured out.
The fact that I don't know, man, it's this pursuit that and Christians, for them, A plus B has to equal C, or they're not going to believe. And they're in this just exhausting pursuit to make everything in the world and every amount of information that they ever come across fit into this little equation that A plus B equals C. If it doesn't, their faith is shaken.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is why they don't ask too many questions. And so apologists and stuff, you have to be careful about, we take the Bible, and the Bible needs to be elevated and revered. I believe that with my whole heart. It is this divine thing in a human container. And it is the most beautiful book. It is a miracle. There was never anything like it before it, and there's never going to be anything like it ever again. We can have a whole podcast on the Bible and how we got it and why it's awesome. But what Western Christianity does is we've taken that Bible and we've made it God.
Yeah.
There is a lot to learn about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, to learn about the creator of the universe outside of those pages. And most of our information about God comes from this book. And I think when that happens, and the humanity part of the equation of this book, because it is a divine thing and it's in a human container.
Mm-hmm.
It was written by men in space and time. And we don't have the original text. They've been copied and recopied, pieced together, and all these little pieces of manuscript, all these fragments. And when that Bible has to be perfect, in the sense that you need it to be perfect because it is God to you. Not perfect in the sense that it is perfectly the thing God intended it to be for us, but it's perfect in the sense that it lines up grammatically, chronologically, all of these things, that you can't find any contradictions in it. And like we mentioned before, there's so much that's been changed, verses that have been taken out because they appeared in some manuscripts but not others, and some people in rooms far away from here decided they shouldn't be in there anymore, and so then that begins to shake your faith, because your faith is in the Bible,
like the physical book,
physical book,
mm-hmm.
and not in the creator and the father of that book, right? And so I'm more interested in the author, in a sense, than I am the work.
Mm-hmm.
But the scripture must be foundational for us. It has to be a pillar of our faith, but it is not the cornerstone. Christ is the cornerstone. And there's lots to learn about Jesus outside of the Gospels. We think that the only information out there about Jesus is the 4 Gospels. Well, other people wrote about him too. There's
Yeah.
information out there to be gained, but you have to be rooted in God's word, 100%. But it's God's word. It's not God.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be careful about where we put that. And so we think that if we have some challenge with God's word and we're trying to figure that out, then, now I have a challenge with God himself. And that's not at least how I operate, is we can challenge, discuss, debate that book, and my faith is not shaken in the Creator, because it's built not just on God's word, but by looking up at the stars, by experiencing a sunrise, by all the experiences that I've had in my life that go, man, that has to be God. I wouldn't have survived that. That's a miracle I survived that.
Yeah.
All of these things that I've experienced that cry out to the Creator. And so challenges that I have with Scripture and canon, they don't shake me.
Mm-hmm.
And I love those things. And I think they point more to the Creator and its authenticity as a book, as the Bible.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of the same thing. It's almost like because of the little small variances in different places, to me, it gives it more credibility.
Yeah.
Because
it's authentic.
Yeah, it's authentic. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I told this, if I walked out to the youth building and told 40 youth group kids the same story and then told them to all come upstairs and tell that story to Cassie, well, they're all going to be a little bit different.
Sure.
But if they're all pretty much the same for the most part, and they
like
vary,
ChatGPT wrote it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
right. But it would all be, credible information though, even though they're a little bit different.
No.
And knowing that all the Gospels were written at different times by different people, and some of them were unaware of others. To me, it just gives it more credibility.
Yeah, those little nuances and stuff like that, especially when you're reading in the original language, you get to learn a little bit more about the personality and the personhood of who was writing that letter, that gospel.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love John so much. John did not like Peter. I don't care what anybody says.
Because the disciples were running, but John got there first.
Yeah, it's all kinds of things.
Just roasted him.
And he was like, and he's talking about Peter, and then he's like, and the disciple whom Jesus loved. That's how he refers to himself.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
There's a little dirtbaggery in there,
Yeah.
And so it really brings out the humanity in these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are all on a journey, and we're all going to pursue knowledge and information and wisdom, and we're all going to try to figure out, where did the universe come from? And people are going to ask questions. Was there really a flood, or was it metaphorical or allegorical or whatever? All I'm saying is just make sure, if you're going to deconstruct your faith, which I don't necessarily think is a bad exercise, just be honest. Try to acknowledge your own biases. Try to avoid echo chambers. Make sure that you're looking, reading, listening to, watching different viewpoints and opinions, and make sure you're taking them as much information as possible before you get to a conclusion. And then also be okay with not knowing the answer. That would be what I would say.
I think that's the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
It's the biggest challenge for me. I'm a guy. I want to know the answers.
No, when I read the Bible, I pull out all like the war, the fighting. God is a man of war.
Yeah.
God prepares my hands for war, trains my fingers for battle. That kind of thing. That's the passage. That's how I want my Christianity. The big red cross and a giant sword.
Yeah.
No, I'm too fat for that. I'd be great in armor if I could sit down, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you make me walk up a flight of stairs or a hill with a sword. Could you imagine? I'd be so gassed out. We're so out of shape, dude.
Dude, I know we are because, like I said, we got back last night from Six Flags and we put in like 12,000 steps at Six Flags. Dude, my feet were killing me and I was wearing tennis shoes.
Could you imagine being armor
Yeah, exactly.
and marching
Yeah,
200 miles
yeah.
to take a city? We're just soft.
Just soft, man.
Like I get squishy. I got to do something about it.
Yeah.
I'd have made a great king. Terrible soldier. No, I wouldn't have made a great peasant.
No, not a good
No,
present. No.
I'd need people fanning me with palm trees leaves or whatever palm leaves,
Yeah.
and feed me grapes.
Mhm.
You know, I'd be sitting on my throne sweating it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be being down there like towards the equator. That's hot,
Oh, yeah.
and no air conditioning back then. And being as rotund as I am, I couldn't have did anything. Like Texas gets hot. When it gets hot here, nope.
I wouldn't have made it. I hate it here. I don't even survive in Texas good.
No, my heart rate just starts climbing after being in the heat after 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because my heart's like, I can't keep your body cool. I can't pump this much blood through your system.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just got to go inside.
Just gotta go inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not the man I used to be.
Yeah.
If you're trying to deconstruct your faith, I want you to ask yourself why. Where are you trying to arrive? And be honest with that answer. Do you want to arrive at truth? Or do you just want relieved of your faith because it's a burden that you don't want to carry? It's something that you don't enjoy, that you don't like. That's a different conversation. I think maybe you're doing it wrong, right? I think you're a part of a religion that you believe in Christianity and not Christ. And Christianity takes many forms, even ones that are toxic and false. Just be honest with where you're coming from, what you want, and where you're trying to go. Be careful with the outcomes that you come to and the conclusions that you draw, because those things are serious and they can affect your eternity. And so be intentional, be thorough, be careful, but most importantly, be honest and aware of your own bias. And remember, I love you. That's what I would say.
Would you add anything?
Yeah. I would just add on to the honesty part. Be honest with yourself. Why are you asking that question? I feel like most people are asking that question because they've been a victim of church hurt. They've been a victim of maybe a poor parenting decision, a poor grandparenting decision, a poor friend decision. Maybe they've just been talked down to a lot by Christians. The thing to remember is, he
did air quotes too.
I did. I did. I think the thing to remember is God isn't. I don't know if I can say that without getting canceled. God's not a Christian. God is God, and Christians are Christians, and we're imperfect, and we mess up, and we do the wrong thing quite a bit. And even when we're trying to lovingly correct someone, we can do that the wrong way. And so, again, be honest with why you're doing it. Be honest with the question of your intentions, of where you want to go, and the truth that you're wanting to seek. And just do it unbiasedly, as unbiasedly as you can. And when you do read, read it in context. Be aware of who the audience is, because parts of the Bible read differently depending on who the author is writing to. So just read in context, be aware of the audience. I think that'll help you a lot with the answers you're seeking. And yeah, just
Are
be
you
careful.
satisfied? I'm out of Diet Coke, so I'd really like to shut this thing down. Right? Can we do that? Hit like, share, and subscribe.
No. You have another before you go.
I thought I did that, but I did before you go.
Okay.
Where do you want?
Yeah, do it now.
Hey, everybody, hit like, share, and subscribe. Ring that bell so you get notifications. Let us know what you think of the comments. And remember, don't forget, love God, love your neighbor, and last but not least, love yourself. See you in the next one.
Wow, you didn't even kiss the microphone that time. There.
Make sure you get this. Eye contact.
Before you go, you have an hour with Jesus. What are you doing?
I have an hour with Jesus. What do you mean with Jesus?
We're going out on a boat, and he's going to tell me exactly where to cast my line.
You talk about live scope, right? Forward facing sonar.
Yeah.
Jesus on the front of your boat. Boy, that perked me up. Boy, I can do that. He's just out there going right there.
It's right there. Bet. Yep.
Left side of that,
Yep.
that tree stump.
You can just call me Peter. Yeah.
Green pumpkin, watermelon flake, shaky head, left side of that stump.
8-pounder all day.
8 pounds.
So you're
fishing.
both just using Jesus for fish.
What would you want to do?
I'm just making sure
Something
that's.
profound.
I'm just making sure that's your answer.
That's what Peter used him
I would
for.
just hug him and cry.
Okay, I didn't say you had to go 30%.
That's what
with
most.
it.
That's what most people would say because that's like the right answer, right?
There's no right answer. You could
I
have a
would just
conversation.
fall at his feet and worship him. That's the Christian answer, right?
You could cook him a steak.
I mean, is that what you're supposed to do? Cook
I
him
don't
a
know.
steak.
I don't know. I'm going
I'm
fishing.
gonna let him cook me a steak. You know how
Okay.
awesome that would be?
you could take him to Top Golf.
This guy turned water into wine. That's what we'll be doing.
Do it.
Is Jesus like? What is he like a genie that's gonna grant requests? Like what are we talking about?
What do we
here?
get to do here?
Like, do I get 3 wishes, or
It's Jesus, not a genie.
does Jesus get to dictate what happens in this hangout session?
No, it's just up
If he's
to
like,
you.
hey man, if Jesus shows up and just like, hey, let's sit here and talk, we're gonna sit here and talk.
It's up to you. That's the thing.
So he's like a genie Jesus.
No, he's just Jesus.
Like we rubbed the Bible 3 times and Jesus popped out.
Yeah, like
and said,
if Jesus,
what would you like for the next hour?
Jesus walks through this door and he's like, "What do you have for me? Like, what are you doing? You have an hour. You're going fishing."
I'd be like, what do you want to do?
You're
I want to
Jesus.
see how he wanted to chill.
You're
Is
supposed
he
to
like
tell
is
me.
he like ethereal
I
like
feel like
Jesus,
there'd
or
be
is
no
he like
chill.
in human form Jesus?
Human flesh.
Flesh and blood. He can feel the sunshine and the breeze on his face.
Yes.
I already know what he wants to do, though.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, to the streets. That's
To
what he's going to want to
evangelize?
do. Yeah, that's what he's going to want to do. Yeah.
Nah.
No,
think
that's
so.
absolutely, that's all he.
Jet
That-
skis.
What else is he going to do?
Jet skis. Yeah, Jesus never rode a jet ski.
Yeah. I mean, are you just
Yeah.
gonna like?
He
show
doesn't
him, like,
need to.
the
He walks
iPhone?
on water.
I could
What's he
take him
need
to a
to ride a
Cowboys
jet
game
ski
and
for?
he could make him win.
Okay, again, he's not a genie.
What do you want to do?
not
I want to go to
Genie
Cowboys
Jesus.
game and them to dominate.
He'd be like,
Y'all are missing my point.
he'd be like, oh, I don't even know if I'm that powerful.
Like I don't know, like I don't know what the right answer is for that. I would want to have fun with Jesus.
Yeah.
Like I have the emotional relationship. Like I want to go out and I preach. I dedicate my life to serving him and stuff like that. If I'm hanging out with Jesus, let's hang out. You know, are we gonna go preach? Man, we do that all the time.
Yeah, but just think about how much better it could be.
If Jesus was here, is
Yeah.
he magically gonna make me better, or is he gonna go preach?
No, he's gonna stand next to you, and you'd be like, this guy right here.
Is he gonna be performing
How,
miracles?
how convincing would that be? Probably.
Wade wants to see something awesome.
Yeah.
And that's
Like-
it.
like-
Jesus, do something.
Like I can't imagine if Jesus showed up. Does everybody else know he's Jesus, or just do I know? And me go, hey, this is Jesus, everybody, and they're like, this dude. is nuts.
And then he goes, water wine.
See, that's the thing. I'm
Done.
deconstructing this this before you go because I don't understand the rules of the paradigm.
You're making it too complicated for what it's worth.
I went simple, and that wasn't good enough.
No, it's all good enough. I was just verifying. Is that what you would do? If I said, "Hey, Jesus is almost here,"
You ask it in a judgy way. That's what you would do? You would go fishing?
I was just making sure that's what you were going with. That's what you're sticking with.
High five and chest bump and be like, hey, roller coasters? Skydiving without parachutes?
Because again, it's
Can't
Jesus
die.
and he's going
Yeah.
to save you.
We just all the way to the ground, just stop. Like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. And then you just kind of stand up and be like, nailed it.
Bet.
Fly. Let's fly. Like Superman. But you have to process that. Superman flies, but I guess it doesn't matter if he gets wind in his eyes because that would bother me. Like once you break like the sound barrier, like your eyeballs are getting blown out of your head.
Yeah, but haven't you seen the Superman movie where like he's on the roof and the guy pulls the gun like this close to his eyeball and pulls the trigger?
Sure.
And the bullet goes.
Yeah.
So if you can take a hollow point to the eyeball, surely you can take some wind.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jesus showed up, shock and awe, right? Yeah. The initial reaction would be like overwhelming. And then after he patted me on the back, said, okay, get up off the floor. Come on, big fella.
I think I'd be like, "Are we done?
You got an
Are
hour.
we done here? We're leaving? Like we outie?"
What are you going to do for the next hour? To convince him to take me with him.
Yeah.
Hey, let me make
I
an
would
argument.
like to leave now. Thank you.
Take me with you. Right now.
Yeah. Trade places? Trade places. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Can I convince you to take me with you? That's how I'd spend the hour.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And if he was like, no, then I'm like, I'll go fishing. I know he's good at that.
Yeah. I know you helped Peter. You better help me.
Cast your shaky head on the other side of the boat.
All right, we done? That's it? I'm not being judgy. I'm just asking.
Are we done?
I guess.
Everybody, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Ring that bell so you get notifications. Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget, love God, love your neighbor. Last but not least, make sure you love yourself. See you in the next one.